Hi boys and girls, my name is Miss Jennifer and I'm a teaching artist in the Pace Art program. I'm here today to do a fun art lesson with you. I'm so glad that you could join me. Today we'll be doing a science-based art lesson. We will be learning about wrens, where they live, what they eat, and so much more. We will learn fun facts about wrens. We will also be learning about the work and life of an artist, illustrator, and author named Charley Harper. The supplies that you will need today will be one sheet of white paper, a variety of markers, and a variety of crayons. We will be using lines, shapes, colors, and patterns when drawing and coloring today. We will be using both markers and crayons. We'll be focused on using thin and thick, short and long lines when drawing. We'll be drawing a picture of a wren on a branch with leaves and a sun. So boys and girls, as I said earlier, we will be talking about wrens today. We will also be learning about an artist, author, and illustrator. And we're going to see how he used the wren in some of his paintings. And so, let's go ahead and get started talking about our wrens. Well, wrens are really small birds. They are small songbirds. They love to sing, and they sing very loud. Now, wrens, when they fly, they usually fly very fast, and they fly sort of low to the ground. They will nest in places like holes in trees that maybe woodpeckers made. They'll nest in nests of other birds that have already been built, and they also make their own nest. Now, the male, which is the boy, wren, is the one that builds the nest. But he doesn't just build one nest, he builds a couple of them. And the female, which is the girl, will then go and she will look at all of the nest, and she will decide which one she likes the best. Wrens are known as pesky, little, fun backyard birds. Did you know that there are more than 80 different kinds of wrens in North America? North America is where we live. And when they make their nest, they use lots of different kinds of materials. They use feathers, moss, small twigs, grass clippings, leaves, wool, or sometimes cotton, if they can find that. They use snake skins and sometimes even pieces of plastic. So they will go around looking for things that they can use to build their nest. And so, saying that, we're going to be drawing a wren picture today. We're going to be focusing on an artist, illustrator, and author. His name is Charley Harper, and here is a picture of Charley Harper in a studio, and as you can see right here, he is painting a ladybug. Now, Charley Harper is no longer with us, but in the time that he was alive, he did amazing work. He even illustrated and was the author of several different children's books. Now, Charley liked the great outdoors, and so we see here's a picture of Charley looking up at this tree. And look at this. Here are some of the birds that he made. Now, these birds were really not in nature. They were sort of put there later, but you can see that he really loved the outdoors. Charley Harper was a Cincinnati-based American modernist wildlife artist. A modernist means that it's a person who breaks away from things that were done in the past and create new ways to do things. He was born in 1922 and he died in the year of 2007 at the age of 84. Charley Harper is well known as an author, artist, and illustrator. So that takes me to, what is an artist? Well, an artist is a person who makes art. They paint, they draw, they color, they cut things apart, they glue them together, and so those are different things that artists do. Now, an author is what, boys and girls? Why don't you turn and tell your neighbor, what do you think an author does? I heard some great answers. Well, an author is a person who writes a book. Now, let's talk about an illustrator. What does an illustrator do? Let's turn and tell our neighbor. Good job. An illustrator is a person who draws the pictures that go along with the words in the book. And so, Charley Harper was an artist, an author, and an illustrator. He is very well known for having written and illustrated lots of different children's books. Charley sort of created his own style of art. He said that he made art without the fuss of feathers. What does that mean? Well, he made simple drawings. He did not try to draw everything that he saw, but instead he broke things into exciting shapes, lines, patterns, and color. And you will see here in this picture, so here is the real picture of a cardinal. You can see the feathers. Now, Charley Harper designed this cardinal. Do we see the feathers? No, he drew in some feathers, but it's not the same. As you can see, he made this cardinal very simple. Basically, if we look here, there's a teardrop shape. There's an upside down triangle. He used dots on the legs. He used triangles for the beak. And so you can see he used basic shapes and colors. He also used lines to make patterns on the wings and the tail. Now, another kind of art that he made was not only birds, but different kinds of animals. He loved nature. And so here we have a toucan. Here is a koala bear with the baby. Here are giraffes. Good job, I heard you say it. And what do you think this black part might be? Well, it's a whale's tail. He made a small one and a large one. So this is the kind of art that Charley Harper designed. And today, as I said, we're going to be talking about wrens. Here is a wren that Charley made. And here's another one that he drew also or painted. And you can see for this one, it's the mom and the baby in the nest. He also made leaves, all with basic shapes. And so today, we're going to be talking about different kinds of wrens. Here we have a Carolina wren. Here we have a blue wren. Here we have a cactus wren. Well, so far we talked about 3, but there are 80 different kinds of wrens in North America. We live in North America. Now, here is a house wren. Notice they're all pretty small. Here is a rock wren. It sort of looks like the rock. Maybe there's some camouflaging going on. Camouflage is when you kind of blend into what you're around. And so there we go. And this little guy is a fairy wren. I thought that he was so cute with his little blue feathers. Now remember, if Charley was drawing this, he would not put the feathers in the picture. So there are a couple wren pictures so that you can see a couple of the kinds of wrens they have in North America. And that takes us to the next part. So, Miss Jennifer, how did you come up with the idea to do this lesson? Well, it's very simple. Miss Jennifer, of course, loves Charley Harper's work, but I was actually in my backyard and I heard some loud chirping and I was like, what could that be? I know it's a bird, but I don't know what kind. And I watched that bird, and that bird went into my greenhouse. Can you imagine that? And so, of course, I waited and I waited and I waited, and the wren stayed in the greenhouse. So, a little later in the day, I went back to check the greenhouse, and guess what? The wren was actually sitting in a nest. So here you can see the picture of the wren that was in the nest in Miss Jennifer's greenhouse. If you look very closely, you can see her big eyes. Amazingly, she made her nest in a plastic container. Well, this plastic container, Miss Jennifer sort of recycled, which means I used it again, and I had my plant labels in it. And the cover had popped open. And so, there they go. They made a nest inside of that container. Inside that container, when I bought the container, had strawberries. So think of that, a nest in a strawberry container. Well, when she left, I went to look. And here I found the nest had eggs. Well, there are 3 eggs in this picture that you see. But I went back this morning and there were 5 eggs in the nest. Well, wrens can lay anywhere from 3 to 10 eggs. So I am patiently waiting for those baby birds to hatch. And so that's sort of why we're talking about wrens today. And I thought it was a perfect time for me to also learn more about wrens. So I want to go ahead and I want to start drawing. While we're drawing today, I am actually going to tell you some more fun facts about wrens. I'm going to be using a black marker today. You can use a black or a brown marker. If you want to draw with a black or brown crayon, that is perfectly fine also. You'll see that I put my paper so that it's laying on its side. It is horizontal. So let's all turn our paper to the side in front of us. Let's get our marker or our crayon that we're going to be drawing with. And let's get started. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come down to about right here in the middle of our paper. So about right here, we're going to put a little dot. Everybody have their dot? Awesome. Now, you're only going to be drawing today. You're not going to be practicing like we normally do on another sheet of paper because I thought this one was pretty easy for us to do. All right, so here it goes. So I'm going to go about right here, and I want to make a curve that looks like this. So here we go. I'm going to move over to the side, and I'm going to make a curve that looks like this. You go ahead and draw it with Miss Jennifer as I'm drawing. Awesome. All right, and then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make another curve just like this. Well, that's starting to look like the wren's body, but not yet. There's more. So let's draw that now. Awesome. All right, and then we're going to draw another one, and this time we're going to come down to about right here. So you can put a little dot right there, and we're going to go down and around and up. But watch this. We're going to stop, and then we're going to make a curve. All right? So I'm going to draw that down here. So I drew a curve, and then I drew another curve going this way. Awesome. All right. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw something right here. Well, if I have our letter V, and I turn it to the side, there we go. We have now just made the beak on our wren. Well, I want to share something with you. If we have our letter V and we turn it to the side, that could be the beak of a bird. If we take that letter V and we turn it the other way, we can maybe make a yield sign like you see on the road. And if we turn it this way, maybe we could use that to make a slice of pizza. All we would have to do is just close those up. And there you go. So sometimes in art we use our letters, our numbers, or our different shapes. If we could have thought about this as a triangle the same way. And so we made our beak using our letter V. Now right inside of the beak, I want you to draw a straight line to the point. Just like this. A straight line to the point. Very good. All right. Now, right on top of the wren's body, right here, we're going to use our letter V, but this time we're going to make it upside down, right here. And that starts to be sort of the tail part of our wren. Good job. All right, now we're going to go swing back about right here because we're missing something. What do you think our wren needs, an eye. Good job. All right, so here we go. We're going to make a curve. So we're simply just going to make a curve just like this. And right inside, we're going to draw a circle. So right inside, we're going to draw a circle. Now, we're not going to color in that circle. We're going to leave it white. Good job. Your wrens are looking great, boys and girls. All right, now we're going to be using our straight line. And we're going to use two straight lines right next to each other. And so here we go. We're going to go up to the top of our paper. And you want to go pretty close to the top because we want to make our wren really big. And we're going to draw another one right here. So now we have two straight lines on top of our wren. And what do you think this part might be, boys and girls? Well, if you said the tail, you were right. Right. Now on the top of the tail, we are going to make our curves. But notice, curve, connected together, curve, connected together. All right, here we go. I'm going to do one, and then I'm going to do the other one a little bigger, and then I'm going to do the other one even bigger. Awesome. And then we're going to connect that with another line going down to the triangle, and another line going down to the triangle. Now, if you decide that maybe you want to put some little lines going across, you could do that on the tail. All right. That would be a good place for us to actually color in a pattern. Your pictures look great, boys and girls. I'm loving your wrens. All right, now our wrens need something to stand on. What do we need to put? His legs. Awesome. Now, we're not going to draw his feet. We're only going to draw the legs using our straight lines. But we're going to use our straight lines so that they go in this direction. That would be our what line? Diagonal. Good job. All right, so here's one diagonal set of legs, and here's another one. We're going to be making four, making sure that they go in this direction when you are drawing them. All right, so now a wren has legs. Now, instead of putting feet, I want to do something else. We're going to make a curved line just like this, connecting those feet. Very good. And then we're going to make another curved line right underneath. Now, instead of drawing feet, I am working on a leaf. Sometimes when you're drawing, we don't always have to draw all of the parts. Sometimes we can put things that connect to it. So instead of making feet, we put a leaf. And then you can draw a straight line and some dashed lines, and we can make the veins inside of the leaf. Good job. All right, now that takes us to the next part. We want to make a branch because our wren is standing on a branch. So here we go, your straight line. And you know what? I think I'm gonna sort of make two lines like this, and I'm going to continue. And now we need to make two sides of our branch. And I'm gonna go off to the edge of my paper here. And if you want to make another branch here, you could do that also. So basically, we're just sort of using our lines and we're making a branch. And if you just want to make it sort of a straight branch, you can do that also. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a sleeve. So here's one straight line, dash lines for the veins, another leaf, same way, curve, curve. So curve on one side, curve on the other side, straight line, dash, dash for the veins. All right, and then I'm going to make just a few more. Now you can make as many leaves as you want in your picture. It's really up to you. I think I'm going to stop with these. And so there are my leaves. All right, and I can even make some different lines. Now this is a spiral. If you start in the middle and you kind of open up that oval, just like that. Or you could do the opposite. You could start big and then make it small. So these ovals sort of make it look like bark on the tree. You could also put dash lines also, because the dash lines makes it look like the parts of the bark. All right, now the next part that I want to draw will be the parts on the body. So we're going to draw a couple of smaller parts. And so here, I'm just going to draw a curved line, just like this. And then I think I'm going to draw a curved line right here, going to the beak. And that just sort of helps to separate the body out, and so that we can color different colors in each part. Now right here, if you want to use what we did here with our curved line, started making it a little wavy, we're going to do it upside down. So upside down. So that's like U, 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 U. All right? And so here we're going to do U, 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 connect them together. And what we're doing here is we're making it look like feathers. But we're not making it look like real feathers. We're kind of making them simple, sort of like Charlie did with his feathers on his birds. And we have one more thing to do. I want today to put a really big sun on our picture. And so what I'm going to do on this side is I'm going to make a big curve like that. So let's do that. Let's do it on one side. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side of our bird. Just like this. Now notice something. We did not draw through the tail or through our bird. We simply made a curve on one side. We stopped, and then we made a curve on the other side, and that made the circle for our sun. Now, the next thing I'm going to draw are sun rays. Now, sun rays, we use lines to draw, but in real life, in the sky, you don't see those lines. It just sort of looks like lines sometimes if you look at it in a certain way. When we make our lines today, we're going to focus on making a long line, a medium line, and a short line. Now, not only will we make long, medium, and short lines, but we also want to focus on making thin and thick lines. So maybe for a thick line, you can make it like a thin rectangle, and we'll color it in. So that will be our thick line, and this will be our thin line. Thick line, thin line, long line, medium line, short line. And here we go. We're going to start out first with a long line. So here we go. And again, if you want to make it into like a rectangle and then color it in, you can. Now go ahead and color it in with your black. All right. And then on this side, I think I want to make a medium size. And there I go. I'm going to color it in with my marker. Good job. And you can keep doing that, just making sure that they're sort of different sizes. All right, here's a small one, large, medium, small. I can make maybe a smaller one right here than what I have here. All right, I'm going to make a really long one up here. And they don't have to be perfect. Some can be bigger than the other. And then I'm going to make one more right here. And now I have my sun and my sun rays. Good job. I'm ready to start coloring. Today, I'm going to use my markers a lot more than I usually use. And I'm going to start off with my yellow first. I'm going to color my sun. So let's get our markers and let's color in our sun. And you're going to color around the bird. Remember, don't color over your wren. You want to color around the wren. And go back if you have white spots and fill them in. All right, so that's that side. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Just like this. All right. Now, if you want, you could actually go back and you can trace around some of your lines, just like this. And so that way, you will have color along the outside edge of your sun rays. Now I think I want to do two colors. I'm going to do yellow, and I kind of colored one, skipped one, colored one, except for right here. And so if you want, you can make it into a pattern. And what I would do is I'll go back right here because I made one extra one, and I would just color it yellow. Because here I made a pattern, yellow, orange, all the way around my sun. All right. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to do the same thing to my leaves. And so I'm going to trace them. Now you could trace them and you could go back and color the inside with your colors, or if you simply just want to color them in with your marker, you can also do that. All right, so Miss Jennifer's going to skip through coloring all of my leaves because I want to have time to do a couple other things with you on my picture today. So the next thing I'm going to do is use brown, and I'm tracing around the outside of my branch just like this. Maybe you can trace the inside lines that you made also with your marker. So just like that. Now I think for this part I actually want to color in my branch with my crayon. So here we go. I'm going to do a little mix of crayons with markers for this picture. All right, and so there is my branch. Now, another fun fact about wrens is that they are insectivores. What is that big word? That means that they eat insects. They eat things like beetles, grasshoppers, flies, but when they are really, really, really hungry, if they cannot find any insects, they will peck on berries for a little bit. And they also make their nests not only in greenhouses like my greenhouse, but they will use a hat, a boot, anything that they can find, they will make a nest in. And so keep your eye out when you have things hanging out outside, because you never know when you're going to find one of those little nests. All right, and now for my wren, I want to actually color my wren with my crayons. And if you want to color your wren with your markers, please feel free to do so. Now I colored it brown because I was thinking sort of like a Carolina wren like I had in my greenhouse. But what if you decide you want to do the blue wren or the little fairy wren that had sort of the blue on it and the lighter color on the underneath of his body? You could definitely do that too. And so right here, all I'm really going to do is I'm going to use different color browns to color my wren. So sort of dark on the top, lighter on the bottom. Now the beak of a wren is sort of a yellow color, but you could also maybe add a little bit of orange too. And you know what? I even saw some with gray, so you could even add a little bit of black if you want. And then of course you would use another color, maybe around the eye, leaving the little part on the inside white, because that is actually where the light shines on the eyes. If you look at Miss Jennifer's eyes, you can see the little white dots. That's where the light is shining in my eyes. All right, and so now I'm going to move on to the back of my picture, and I'm going to simply just color the back blue. Now if you want, you could actually go as far as adding maybe purple or pink or orange or yellow to your blue. But I think for now, I'm just going to put blue. And I have one more thing that I want to do, and that is I want to color my wren's legs. And I'm sort of using a kind of yellow gold color for that. And maybe when you color the feathers, maybe you could do one row of one color, one row of another color. Now, on the tail, I'm going to do the same thing. Here I'm going to color one row maybe orange, skip one, color one orange, skip one, color one orange. And I am making a what, boys and girls? A pattern. Good job. And again, like I said, you could do the same thing with the wren's wings. You could color one row, skip a row, one row, skip a row. And maybe I'll do like a lighter peach kind of color for the other one. Right, and there you go. We have now drawn and colored our wren. Today, we learned about wrens, and we learned about the life and work of Charley Harper. We learned fun facts about wrens. We drew a picture of a wren on a branch with leaves and a sun. We learned what they eat and so much more. If you have some extra time, you might want to add some different colors to your picture. I want you to make sure that you take some time to share your picture with your family and friends. Maybe you can tell them what your picture is about. Until next time, let's keep making art.